All right, so we're going to get started. Thank you. Thank you again. So good morning, everyone. My name is Matt Wolf. I am actually the president of the Placentia Chamber. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll be your MC for today's event. On behalf of the Placentia Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, I'd like to welcome you to the 2021 State of the City. The Chamber is honored to host this event and especially excited for all the progress and announcements that we're going to expect from the city today. Over a year later, many businesses are still feeling the effects of COVID-19, but with the support of the Chamber and the city, our members will remain resilient. We are fortunate to be in a city that was proactive with small business funding and stayed the course as many new projects got underway. To get this event started, I'd like to first bring up Reverend Karen Tahimer of La Habra United Methodist Church to do the invocation. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day and what an opportunity to be here. Will you pray with me? Lord, we give you thanks this morning for all that we've been blessed with. It's easy to forget to count our daily blessings each and every day. So this morning we give thanks for the blessings of life itself, for our health and the ability to simply gather in person. We give thanks as we celebrate a wonderful city, its leaders, and a team of dedicated employees. Lord, we know that human enterprise, commerce, creativity, and ingenuity do not come from simply good luck or good fortune. They are the gifts that you bestow upon your servants and stewards. They are the gifts that we practice and use so often that we might elevate our community and our cultures. These talents and gifts are the pathway through which leaders fulfill their goals and achievements. We thank God for the value that our businesses, government, places of school and work and worship, places of care, parks and homes, what they create, for they are the way a community grows and flourishes. We thank God for our leaders and this team of colleagues, their competence and creativity, their faithfulness to our community. Lord, we pray you will protect them and guide them and bless their effort. We especially ask your blessings on our mayor today and his family, as they have served so faithfully for many years. And now may God bless this time of sharing, our meal, our fellowship together, and may you draw us closer together as friends and family and as citizens. For God is love, and today we reflect that love together. May all of God's children now say, amen.
Thank you, Reverend. I will now introduce the Placentia Police Chief, Chief Lenny.
And I will leave everyone standing because we're about to do the colors, and I'm proud to introduce our Honor Guard. Ready, post. Ready, two. Please place your hands over your heart and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance of our great nation. Ready, begin.
You can be seated. So I want to thank the El Dorado High School Vocal Ensemble for those beautiful renditions of the national anthem and God Bless America. That was amazing. Okay. We'll take a short break and then we'll continue after. At this time, we're going to keep the show rolling And at this time, I'm going to introduce our Mayor, Craig Green, to deliver his State of the City address. Mr. Green, in case you didn't know, has been living in the city for over 30 years. He is married to his wife, Beverly, and did you know he has 3 children? Craig is proudly a Navy veteran. Now, if you've ever been in his office, I can attest to that. He'll go through all his Navy stuff, serving both as an enlisted man and as an officer. And this I did not know. He is actually retired from the residential mortgage business, which I am a mortgage person, so I'm sure a lot has changed in the last 10 years. And has been very active in the Placentia community for the last 20 years. Mayor Green ran for and was elected to the Placentia City Council in 2014, following 4 years as the city treasurer. He previously served as our mayor in 2017. Without further ado, I'd like to ask Mayor Craig Green to come up to the stage to deliver his State of the City address.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. Also want to thank Pastor Karen for being here. She was the pastor of the Placentia United Methodist Church, where we go for a long time, so that's why she's here, so I wanted to say thanks for that. And the El Dorado Choir, oh my gosh, were they good or what? And of course, one of my favorite things in our city is our Placentia PD Honor Guard. Those guys are great. They always do a good job. I'll just start off by saying good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for taking the time to attend our 2021 State of the City Luncheon. I would like to thank our city staff, our Chamber of Commerce, and the folks here at Alta Vista for all their hard work to make this event happen. As you know, good governance is not just something that is accomplished by one person, because it does indeed take a team. I got to tell you, I've been blessed to work with my fellow city council members and city staff that all have one important goal in common, and that goal is to keep Placentia moving forward and to help keep it a pleasant place in which to live. There are some city councils around Southern California that have infighting, and their actions during some of their city council meetings can get pretty nasty. That's why I'm so grateful for our own city council and city staff, and also why we've been able to get so many things accomplished on an ongoing basis, continuing moving forward. It's been almost 20 years since I attended my first city council meeting, and in all that time since, I've been blessed to have the support of my lovely wife, Beverly, sitting right there. My family, all three of our kids went through schools here in Placentia, and they still live locally. Our farthest one is 20 minutes over in Whittier, and our lovely daughter is sitting right over here. Ann, thank you for being here. And the rest of our entire family and friends. So William, Ann, and Matthew, our kids, have just done a great job in supporting me. My sister-in-law, Goody Green, sitting right there. Thanks, Goods, for being here. Rick Kirkland, a friend of over 20 years, and Bob Carley, who I've known since high school, sitting right there. Met him in 1962. So, and a great friend and neighbor, Nancy Hubotter. She's been involved in a lot of things in the city, so thank you for being here. Thank you all for your steadfast support. The theme for this year's State of the City address is Placentia is pressing on. Press on has been my mantra for over 50 years. I borrowed it from the 30th President of the United States, Mr. Calvin Coolidge. He is one of my favorite presidents because he was a man of few words. Damien can attest to that because I'm always timing his talks. But he still managed to get a lot done without a lot of fanfare. The full quote you probably see on some of those plaques and what do you call them, successory type things for motivational speeches. It's titled, "Press On." Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, "Press On," has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. And that's a quote by Calvin Coolidge. And it's true. I've had that on a poster in my offices for probably, like I said, the last 50 years. And it's true. You just got to keep moving forward. That's why jets don't have rear view mirrors. What's behind you doesn't make a spit. It's what's out in front of you that counts. So that's what we do. I'm going to now take the liberty of providing you all with a little history of my involvement with our city, because it does indeed have a bearing on where we are today and how we got here. Almost 20 years ago, my neighbor Chuck Schoenberg, I think he was 85 at the time, came to my door and said, "Craig, you've got to go to a city council meeting to find out what's going on. They're considering outsourcing our police department, and that just isn't right." Well, I had never been to a city council meeting, never even thought about it. But Chuck was adamant, so off I went to my first city council meeting. I believe it was February of 2003. And when it was time for public comments, I went to the podium and I asked 7 questions. I'm either infamous or famous for asking questions that I had developed based on what Chuck had told me. Unfortunately for that council, they never answered my questions. They provided me with a line of bunk. I was told to use the word bunk here, so that's what I used. Over the past almost 20 years since that time, I've only missed 9 city council meetings, and I've just kept asking questions that I believe are in the best interest of our residents and our city. Several of us were curious as to why the city administrator back then was demanding city departments were asking their departments to trim their budgets again and again and again. It turned out that the city administrator believed he could save a lot of money by outsourcing our police department. Believe me, it ain't true. Never, I don't care where you go, you can't beat what our guys and gals do. But then what he wanted to do is direct whatever savings he could accrue to put that into what everybody knew was at the time was contract, on track. That was putting the train in a cement ditch for about 5.7 miles, starting at Melrose and going that way. Well, that never happened. We had a great group of residents that were all interested in what the city was doing. We formed a political action committee back then. It was called Citizens for a Better Placentia. That became a force to be reckoned with. I don't know if some of you remember, back then the Register put out every Thursday a publication called the Placentia News Times. Every man and his dog could hardly wait till they published that to see what the hell, we had been doing to get on the city's back. And it was kind of fun. We'd come to places like this and everybody's coming up wanting to talk about what was going on. Our group met every Monday evening to discuss what was going on and what information had been turned up. That way we would be prepared for the Tuesday city council meeting, which is twice a month, of course. We had 3 individuals that were very interested in as well, but didn't want to be associated with our group for fear of retribution by their own agency. So we had a Mr. Smith, a Mr. Jones, and a Mr. X that attended our meetings. So, which was always fun. Smith, in my estimation, was the planet's expert on municipal finance. He could, if you've ever seen a budget or a CAFR, those documents are like that. He could go through those things like nothing. And that son of a, circling stuff like that, it was great. He just did a hell of a job for us. And Mr. Jones, he was from the district attorney's office, when that was nice to have that in. And Mr. X was from our own city. So we had an incredible group of individuals that managed to assemble an unbelievable amount of information that eventually resulted, you ready for this, in the indictment of the city administrator and the director of public works by the Orange County grand jury. That was a lot of work, but it paid big dividends. Our small group was unrelenting in our pursuit of information and obtaining answers to questions of interest to our residents. On track, of course, with the project that was supposed to lower the trains in a concrete ditch so they could run below grade at the various railroad crossings. It's a great idea. But we kept asking them, where's the money? The estimate at the time was $225 million for that project. So at the podium one evening, I asked the city council, I said, so if the guy from the feds walks through those double doors back there and hands you a check for $225 million, what are you gonna do with it? Because there's no way in hell, the project we guesstimated was about $500 million at the time. So they never answered the question. But the good thing is that the overpasses and underpasses, which were done by our friends at OCTA, the best thing going since sliced bread, because that's what we had been pushing for a long time. Because you can do one at a time. You accrue some funds, you can do one. You start a train in the ditch, you better have all the money behind you, because you can't stop once you get going, because the railroads are having to go around that and all that kind of stuff. It's nasty stuff. So the project was also the culprit for the departmental budget cutting, and it was gutting our city departments. So if you see that picture of the bridge, now, if you go down Melrose towards Orangethorpe, you get to the next set of railroad tracks, you turn around and look at it, and you can actually see that that bridge was built on an angle like that, because that's where the train was supposed to start going underground. So I call that a monument to stupidity and bad ideas. Or as I say it here, a monument to arrogance and bad ideas, and that's true. So, but it's an absolute fact. Okay, on-track ditch project never happened. Our efforts resulted in the on-track project being terminated, which is the best thing to happen for the county and the city, I can tell you that. The good thing was, like I said, that OCTA took over that project. They had the staffing, they had the engineers, they had the expertise, and they had some of the money. So that was a good thing. The other issue with, one of the good things about the overpasses and underpasses, or what rode on the train in the ditch, is that with the number of trains that were going through the city at the time, and the estimated amount that we're gonna be increasing over the years, those tracks literally cut our city in half. So public safety, fire, the police, if they had to go to one part of the town, they could actually have to wait for a doggone long train to get by. So this is a blessing for everybody all the way around. The train in the ditch had to be fully funded, like I said, because once you got it started, you couldn't stop. Oh, and here's the other important thing. Because of the budget cutting back then and the way that they had done business back then, our city is still paying for those arrogant and bad decisions of so many years ago. In fact, at one of the city council meetings, I had the pleasure of presenting the city council with that trophy. It's in the mayor's office right now, and it's the Titanic going under the water, because it says, arrogance and bad decisions will almost always result in disasters. So they were going the wrong way, and we wanted to make sure they had that. We asked that it be put in the trophy case in the Placentia Police Department, which they did, because we were afraid somebody was gonna basically snatch it and take off. So I went over there after a couple of years and retrieved it, so now it's in the mayor's office. So that's kind of cool. It did serve to drive the point home that the city council's arrogance and bad decisions were taking our city in a very bad direction. That is why when some of us heard the saying that the city is, you hear us saying, the city's doing great. It is doing great. That comment must be taken in the context of where we were at the time, and also what the city was going through, and where we are now. Remember, it wasn't that many years ago that we closed one of our fiscal years with a balance of $49 in the bank. For a municipality, for a city, $49 in the bank. So they drug us pretty close to the brink, I can tell you that. People ask me why I do this. I tell them I do it for the money. Well, hey, $150 a month, that's a lot. So, anyway, at my last day to the city in 2017, the theme was we're getting better and we're moving forward. We really do continue to get better because of the efforts of the city council and our city staff, especially for this guy, what the heck's his name? Oh yeah, Damian Arula. He's our city administrator. It's because of his energy, numerous relationships, and ability to work outside of many boxes that we've managed to continue moving forward, especially financially. Speaking of city finances, our city treasurer, Kevin Larson, had some words to say, so we could put him on the screen.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kevin Larson, your treasurer for the city of Placentia, and I'm here to give you an update on how the city is doing financially. The city is actually doing remarkably well compared to just a few years ago. In fact, despite the pandemic with its negative effects on the economy, Placentia has carried on without any major cuts to our budget or reductions in staffing. All said, Placentia turned a financial corner with the passage of Measure U in 2018 and has been pressing on ever since. As we close out 2021 and proceed into 2022, we are very optimistic that Placentia's finances will continue to improve. 3 areas of growth truly reinforce this optimistic outlook. Fiscal operations. City Council recently approved increasing the general fund contingency from 17% to 25%. The city's credit rating has also improved from BBB plus to A-, and our gas tax and lease revenue bond ratings have improved to A and BBB plus. Another area is financial ratios. According to the California State Auditor's Fiscal Health Dashboard, Placentia has significantly improved in the following areas: revenue trends, debt burden, liquidity, financial reserves, retirement funding, and related obligations. The third point is liquidity and investments. Our improved liquidity has allowed the city to place new investments to achieve less risk through diversification, higher overall returns, and an investment strategy that lessens the negative impact of economic fluctuations over the long term. It appears as if the city will continue to improve its financial position for 4 years in a row, with a likely increase in its overall state ranking. That is positive news that further supports our mayor's theme. Placentia is pressing on.
And there's our city treasurer. Thank you, Kevin, so much for those words. These days, accounting rules require that the listing of unfunded pension liabilities must appear on a balance sheet, city's balance sheets. Those liabilities are the difference between what is owed to future pensioners by Caltrans, or CalPERS, and the amount CalPERS has in cash and investments to pay that freight. Unfortunately, CalPERS' dismal investment efforts have resulted in cities being strapped with lots and lots of debt to back those CalPERS obligations. Almost every city in this country has unfunded pension liabilities of some magnitude. Ours was $50 million. Oh, and we were having to pay CalPERS 7.5% interest on that money. That's a lot of dough. Thank heaven our city council agreed with Damien's recommendation, and we refinanced that $50 million debt into a 30-year fixed rate loan at 3%. So our city is saving between $14 and $15 million on that. That's a lot of money for a small city. Thank you, Damien. Our city council is very optimistic about our fiscal future, but we also maintain a sense of caution when it comes to long-term obligations, as there are many things looming on the economic horizon that we need to be watchful for. Here's a word from our elected city clerk and chairman of the city's Fiscal Sustainability Task Force and chair of the Measure U Oversight Committee, Mr. Bob McKinnell. Put him on the screen, please.
Hi, I'm Bob McKinnell, Placentia City Clerk and the chair of the Measure U Citizens Oversight Committee. And I want to spend a few minutes to tell you about Measure U and what it's been doing to help the city improve its city services as well as achieve fiscal sustainability. Prior to the passage of Measure U, the City Council adopted a financial policy that dealt with new revenues that came into the city, whether those revenues were ongoing revenues like Measure U or one-time events. But what the policy did was it allocated any new funds that the city received to 4 identified areas of need. 1, infrastructure enhancement and improvement. 2, employee retention. 3, dealing with our unfunded pension liabilities. And 4, the establishment of fiscal reserves so that we could deal with unforeseen activities. Because of the disciplined application of this policy and the passage of Measure U, significant progress has been made in all 4 areas. In infrastructure, we are in year 2 of a 7-year pavement rehabilitation program that will address every street in the city. In addition, we've replaced public safety equipment as well as introduced technology which will dramatically reduce the response times of our police and fire department. As far as employee retention, the addition of staff, particularly in the police department, have reduced forced overtime and eliminated excessive training costs associated with employee turnover. As far as the unfunded pension liabilities, with the improved financial condition of the city, outside experts have recognized our enhancements and have significantly increased our credit ratings. This has allowed us to have access to decreased costs of borrowing, and we've refinanced our CalPERS pension liability. Finally, in the 4th area, I think is our most significant achievement. We've been able to achieve the council-adopted goal of 25% of our annual expenditures being available in contingency reserve. Therefore, if we have an unforeseen event, we will be able to deal with it with reserves rather than what we've done in the past, which is having to reduce services dramatically. On behalf of the city staff and the city elected officials, I want to thank the citizens of Placentia for the faith that they showed in us in passing Measure U, and assure you in the future, Measure U will help us achieve fiscal sustainability as well as continuing to provide state-of-the-art city services. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Good job. We all saw how quickly things can change when it comes to revenue sources, capital projects, contracts, etc. The COVID issue was also a huge part of things slowing down, and it continues to be on everyone's watch list. It seems like in the blink of an eye, the economy can change very drastically. It is for that reason that your city council continues to move forward on things, but with a cautious eye on the horizon. This year, we celebrated the one-year anniversaries of our Navigation Center, our Veterans Village, that was a very special project for me, and our Placentia Fire and Life Safety Department. I am very proud to say that Placentia is one of only a few Orange County cities that stayed open throughout the pandemic. That was extremely helpful to developers, contractors, and residents alike that needed the city services for their own projects. The last time I did our State of the City, we were getting through so many negative issues that had been plaguing our city back then. Even with OnTrack, the embezzlement, and the continuing negative effects of the past problems, we have managed to continue moving forward. And that says a lot about our staff and the council. Placentia has been designated a smart city. Of course, that's because of computers and stuff, but that's not me.
Hi, my name
And
is
all
Jeremy
that-
Yamaguchi. I'm a council member here at the City of Placentia. We've been working on a number of projects in the city, including Sci-Fi Fiber Networks, who's partnering with the City of Placentia to bring gigabit fiber internet to the residents and businesses throughout the city. Through a long process, we've come to an agreement with them to install fiber optic communications throughout the city, partnering with a fiber internet service provider called Placentia Fiber Internet. We're happy to see fiber internet come to the residents and businesses throughout Placentia, ending in just about a year and a half. This long process took a lot of effort from both staff, our city council, as well as the Sci-Fi team to plan and implement the construction project. Bringing fiber internet to businesses and residents is making Placentia proof to make sure we have connectivity for students going to school and studying, businesses trying to work on e-commerce and gain technology access, as well as residents who want to stay connected from home. We're very excited to see the future of Placentia connected through Fiber City and Sci-Fi networks, through 5G, through internet, through home, work, and school.
Thank you, Jeremy. Think about it. Because of all of these things, we have rehabilitated over 1 million square feet of arterial roadways, 3 million square feet of residential streets have been slurry sealed, 10 additional Opticon emergency vehicle traffic signal preemption devices for our first responders. Those are the devices that give our first responders green lights when they hit intersections. Damien, you think I could get one of those for my car? We've done also our old city hall with a new roof, new HVAC system. We purchased a police body-worn camera, so we're up to date with that kind of technology, which is great. And the replacement of hydraulic vehicle lifts at the city fleet management's garage, so our mechanics can take care of stuff easier. Another biggie is our parks initiative. Some of you probably know that our parks have been kind of on the slide for a long time, so now we're getting back at those. We're getting our long neglected parks back in shape for our residents, with each park having a theme. Councilmember Ward Smith has some words on that.
Welcome. I'd like to talk to you for the next minute or so about an exciting project that we have going on here at the city. I'm very, very pleased with this project moving forward, and it's what we refer to here as the Parks Initiative. Over the next couple of years, you're going to see the city move in and basically revamp, upgrade, and bring up to standard all of our parks. This whole project is being funded through you, the citizens, that help by passing Measure U for significant or capital infrastructure projects, as well as the acquisition of state grants for our parks and green spaces, and we're working closely with our developers on our development impact fees to make these projects happen. Again, we're going to be excited about seeing things such as new picnic benches, new drinking fountains, trash receptacles, reworking some of the pathways to make areas more accessible in the park, as well as the building structures themselves. You're going to find that the City of Placentia is going to have a whole new look for outdoor space and an opportunity to enjoy recreation and find yourselves wanting to come out and spend time in our parks. So we'll hope that you'll watch over the next couple of years this project moving forward, and we'll be excited to see the changes.
Thank you, Ward. See, These are the kind of things that happen when city council consistently does what is best for our city. Repeat, what is best for our city. And one of those things is making sure that any possible revenue sources for projects, developments, and the like are, as much as possible, negotiated in favor of the city's revenue stream. Again, we've been a bedroom committee since 1926, and those are the kind of things that we have. We don't have a Price Club here, pardon me, Costco. We don't have any mall. We don't have the Brea Mall, so we have to rely on things like that. So that's, and council does a pretty good job. Councilmember Rhonda Shader has some comments on some housing improvements in our cities.
Hi, I'm down here on Crowther in the Old Town area in front of our newest development, the Herald, where residents are already moving in. It's a beautiful development. I've been able to tour it, and the residents are so excited about all the amenities and everything that it offers, including a pedestrian bridge to our Old Town and restaurants and all the new businesses coming to that area. Further down the street is JPI. They're already starting to build. You may have noticed that closer to the 57. So we have a lot of housing coming on this street in Placentia. These developers are also updating our streets, and there's a beautiful median behind me that just makes this area look so much better. Our transit-oriented district is coming along, and we have lots of plans for different ways that people will be able to use public transportation in Placentia, and it'll be a great hub where people can catch a ride, and then ultimately, of course, our train station, Metrolink stop will be here. And so there's a lot happening in Old Town and in the TOD area. So come on down here and try to keep up.
Thank you, Rhonda. I think her energy level is by those contractors too, because they just keep moving and moving. That development she was standing in front of, the Herald, if you guys get a chance to go take a look at it, on the roof is a beautiful pool, a spa, a gym. Oh yeah, there's a beer garden up there too. That's kind of nice. So, and they're doing that. Another project that's been in the mix for a long time is our long-awaited Audi dealership. And Mayor Pro Tem Chad Vanka has a few comments on that, so we can show Chad on the screen.
Hey everybody, we're here at the site of the new Penske Audi dealership in Placentia. This will be the only Audi dealership in all of North Orange County, and despite the COVID pandemic and the economic issues, Penske's been a great partner with the city, and we've pressed on with developing this site. This was previously a Volkswagen dealership. This site had been vacant for over a decade, and the buildings were in disrepair, and it was basically a completely underutilized site. Penske came in and purchased the property, and the city worked really hard to make sure that they got all the permits they needed and were able to open up on time. This site will generate a significant amount of sales tax revenue for the city, along with jobs and being an economic driver for this general area.
Thank you, Chad. Very good. The thought processes that you have right now in moving things forward with our city council, the revenue sources look pretty good now, but we're extremely cautious. So we're waiting to see what the data shows from our, I hate to say it, but consultants, you know how they are. But no, we have some folks that are just experts in figuring out where the revenue sources are, what the tax increment level is that's coming in and all that. So we're looking forward to getting that stuff in here. When you look back just a few years, we closed, again, this is important to repeat, we closed a fiscal year with $49 in the bank. That's just incredible. That was a very scary time for our city. But Placentia just kept pressing on and working hard. And now we have projects underway all over the city, which is nice. Some reserves in the bank, that's a godsend because, again, $49 to having $17 million in the bank, hey, that's a big deal. And a very healthy attitude towards ensuring that taxpayer dollars are wisely invested in our city. I like to call them taxpayer dollars because that's exactly whose they are. They're not ours. They belong to the taxpayers, so we have to treat them like that. And all of the city council agrees with that, which is a great thing. So I say personally, in all the years I've been involved with our city, I've never felt as positive about where we are, how we're doing, and where we're going than I am at this time. Placentia is truly a pleasant place with a bright future. In short, the state of our city is great, and we want to thank the city council and the city staff for doing that, and all the employees that work for our city. So thank you again for attending this event this morning, this morning. And now I would like to introduce our city administrator, Mr. Damian Ruler. Damian, you're at bat.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the kind words of support for staff. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to come before you and speak at the Mayor's State of the City, and also thank you for attending today. We have a lot of wonderful things that we have to share with respect to Team Placentia and all that has been accomplished during the past year. I have to say, guys, though, that this was a tough year if you're in public service. It was probably one of the toughest years in my career with respect to providing service to a community and still operating, as the mayor indicated. He's timing me. He always says, I'm watching my watch, not my calendar, so just in case you've ever heard him say that. With respect to the challenges, despite those challenges, 2021 was another banner year for Placentia. There was a lot that was accomplished. We had a lot of significant progress. We're going to go over those a little bit in a moment. You've heard also today the mayor, the city council, the city clerk, and also the city treasurer speak about a lot of collective achievements. However, some of the notable accomplishments that I'm going to speak to today touch upon the grand opening of the new Spring Hill Suites by Marriott here in the city, the first anniversary celebration of the Placentia Navigation Center, celebrating the first anniversary and the inaugural report of the Placentia Fire and Life Safety Department and our contract with Lynch EMS for 911 services, as well as the city's first ever Tree City USA designation and subsequent Arbor Day event. In June of this year, we were thrilled to hold a grand opening celebration with Fine Hospitality Group to celebrate the opening of the new Spring Hill Suites Hotel here in Placentia. Despite COVID-19 challenges, they managed to get this hotel built within less than 15 months. Within 15 months. And according to our partners at Fine Hospitality, this is the fastest hotel they have built in their industry. This achievement couldn't have been possible without our team's dedication and commitment to excellence, as well as the working relationships we've established with our partners to meet their needs at every turn. Even under COVID, Placentia can and will bring forth state-of-the-art developments such as these. And you heard the mayor indicate that we're one of a few Orange County cities that actually never closed during Placentia. That was very important to the team. As you may know, Spring Hill Suites by Marriott is a premium hotel brand with high-quality amenities and services. Our Spring Hill Suites is a 116-room, 5-story development on an approximately 2-acre lot. So whether you're staying for business or pleasure, Placentia Spring Hill Suites is an ideal place to stay with accommodations ranging from a fitness center, breakfast lounge, an outdoor pool. It will help serve those visiting Disneyland, Cal State Fullerton, and many other attractions within our greater area. This hotel took vision by our team and is the perfect use of this once dilapidated, vacant, and unique property. It's located directly adjacent to the 57 freeway and along major streets within the city. And is also next to our transit-oriented development district, as you heard Councilmember Shader indicate, which is key. At nearly full capacity, the hotel is expected to contribute approximately $400,000 to $500,000 a year in revenue toward the Placentia General Fund. The new Spring Hill Suites is located at 380 South Placentia Avenue, and we welcome you to check it out and stay tuned for more city and chamber events to be hosted there over the next year. In terms of our navigation center, in partnership with People Assisting the Homeless, also known as PATH, the city was proud to celebrate the first anniversary of the Placentia Navigation Center. The Placentia Navigation Center opened on March 31, 2020, smack in the middle of the pandemic, if you can remember that just happened. And at the time, PATH has helped over 180 people experiencing homelessness. I believe we have some team members from PATH here that we're blessed to have their partnership. To provide a little bit of background on the Navigation Center, the city of Placentia, as one of the lead cities in North Orange County, along with the cities of Buena Park, Cypress, Fullerton, La Habra, La Palma, Los Alamitos, Orange, Villa Park, Stanton, and Yorba Linda, partnered together for the first of its kind collaboration to end homelessness in North Orange County area. One of the things that's unique when we looked at this is actually the first of its kind not only in Orange County, but this project is the first of its kind in the nation. It's very unique. I do want to acknowledge that we have 2 council members here from the city of Buena Park. We have Beth Swift and Sonny Park, who And working with the colleagues, the city managers of Buena Park, Jim Vanderpool originally, and Aaron France, brought about this project. And I will say, folks, if you think trying to work with one city council can be difficult, try working with 12 city councils to do something, right? So, but we were blessed, I think, with the leadership of our city council, our mayor, working with our partners at the county, Buena Park, as I mentioned, in all those cities, we were able to accomplish a lot. PATH operates the state-of-the-art Placentia Navigation Center, which provides 100 beds for individuals experiencing homelessness in North Orange County. In addition, wraparound services such as housing navigation, job training, and health resources are available to all residents, with the ultimate goal of helping them find a permanent home. I am honored to say that the Navigation Center was also recognized recently by the American Public Works Association as a 2020 Best Project of the Year. The BEST program recognizes significant public works capital improvement projects and initiatives that enhance our quality of life in our communities. The center was also lauded by Judge Carter and homelessness advocates as being a best practice and regional solution towards addressing homelessness. In addition, I want to briefly mention, I can't give away all the details yet, but we've been notified that this project may be up for another award. We've just been notified of that recently. Placentia is proud to have been a pioneer of this project and have found a fiscally responsible and regional solution that is friendly to taxpayers and which also addresses the needs of the community. The Navigation Center is truly an environment of support and fellowship and a place where individuals are to be lifted up and provided with the necessary tools to get them back on a path toward a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. None of this would have been possible without the vision, commitment, and hard work of Placentia and our partnering cities and the county. And a recent update for you, and this was pretty heartwarming to hear this information. We have recently learned that 31 homeless clients have since graduated from this facility by receiving jobs and obtaining more permanent housing, which was one of our main goals of this project. Moving forward, our Placentia Fire and Life Safety Department, another noteworthy event and project this year was the first anniversary celebration of our new Fire and Life Safety Department and our contract services with Lynch EMS for paramedic services. Since July 1, 2020, the city has successfully established the Placentia Fire and Life Safety Department and Lynch EMS as our 911 paramedic service provider. This was entirely designed with fiscal sustainability and the taxpayer in mind. Our new fire department and Lynch EMS paramedic contract consists of highly trained and experienced paramedics, paramedic supervisors, firefighters, battalion chiefs, captains, engineers, and a fire chief. This comprehensive team is complemented by a new public safety communications center division, which has a whole new suite of fire and EMS dispatching services. They provided those to our community to address a considerable amount of more calls, which I'll get to a little bit in a moment. In the old days, we would transfer our calls to another service provider. What most folks don't realize is that actually delays the response times when it comes to folks that are in need. And now we handle all the calls in-house, and we're able to make those rapid response times, which I'll get to a little bit in a moment as well. Lynch paramedics and supervisors, I want to talk a little bit about Lynch and what they've done for the city, because a lot of people don't realize the value of having a partner that's doing something and willing to go in with you on something that what some folks might consider fairly risky. You heard a lot of noise about this project, this community-wide project, and now we're about to deliver some of the results from this process. Lynch was our partner all along. Lynch's paramedics and supervisors have been phenomenal to work with and have consistently gone above and beyond to improve services to our community. I would be remiss if I didn't say that we consider Walt Lynch, he's right here in front of me, and his team, who are all at the table, as part of the Placentia family. We consider them essentially as kind of de facto staff, the people that we work with side by side every day and do the business of the city. Most people don't realize that between 70 to 80% of our calls are actually medically related. Most of those calls, when you look at the situation, the first unit to arrive on scene is actually Lynch EMS, the paramedics. Sometimes they're the only unit to arrive on scenes. In all this process, they have exceeded our 911 expectations, including learning recently that in their first year of operation, the Lynch team has had more successful cardiac arrest saves than the national average. Again, this is in their first year of operation. Folks, I got to say that, it's a privilege being a city administrator and obviously working for a city council. But I share this with our team and our council. It's not often that as appointed and elected officials, you can actually tell people in all that you do, even being a city manager, that the actions that you have taken have resulted in saved lives. People's lives are actually saved. There's nothing more powerful than that when it comes to our ability to do what we do as appointed elected officials. With respect to Lynch and those cardiac saves, that means they have saved more lives by their expertise when they come into contact with a heart attack patient than the national average. If that's not setting the bar high enough, Walt, with your team, in the first year, I don't know what is. They have also been recognized recently by Children's Hospital of Orange County and St. Jude Medical Center for their excellence on rapid responses and patient care. I and the council have received overwhelmingly positive responses about the care, attention, and professionalism that Walt and his team have shown us and have shown to our community. On behalf of the city, we can't thank them enough for their services in supporting our fire department and community. In addition to Lynch EMS, Placentia Fire and Life Safety Department has had some notable accomplishments, including conducting 23,000 hours of training during the last year in a variety of specialty areas. The department has hosted a captain's academy, implemented safety emergency access devices to access all properties. These are known as Knox boxes. With the assistance of Public Works, we've completed a majority of the renovations to both stations to actually improve response times even faster than what I'm about to share with you in a moment. In addition, with the support of our Deputy City Administrator, Luis Estevez, we have also installed Opticom traffic control preemption devices at 30 major intersections, keeping our firefighters, our police officers, our Lynch team members safer as they go to a call. In addition, well, I actually got to say, I got to address that comment earlier from Mayor. No, you can't have one for your vehicle, by the way. But it's a good try. Our fire department also, responds to, obviously quite a few fire calls. There are some notable ones that I want to talk about here. The first one that I'd like to talk about is the September 2020 Dunn Street fire. When this fire was happening, fire units arrived. They found heavy black smoke and fires showing from the street. Our firefighters quickly engaged, and upon entering the structure, there was a loud explosion. Regardless, the firefighters held the fire in check, and with the assistance of surrounding agencies, Lynch EMS, and emergency ambulance, firefighters were able to extinguish the fire. It was later determined by fire officials and law enforcement that the fire was started by an illegal honey oil operation. In addition, Placentia firefighters responded to multiple intentionally set fires in the area of Kramer and Crowther. We were dealing with this literally we go to a call, and probably about an hour later after a fire was extinguished, we get the same call. Eventually, I believe we got to the bottom of it with some great work by the Placentia Police Department and other team members. The fires were set near the railroad tracks and threatened adjacent structures at the rear of the tracks, including one of our own very council members' homes. So this was very important to be able to respond as we would in any situation, but made it very real in terms of what we have done with respect to the fire department. Placentia firefighters and paramedics responded quickly with the assistance of other agencies, and thanks to the professionalism and excellence of our Placentia Fire and Life Safety Department, these fires were quickly extinguished with no injuries to civilians or bystanders. So during the process of establishing a new fire department and contracting with Lynch EMS, which is a lot of work, folks. I can't emphasize that enough. Sometimes we don't realize how much work that is. The city set forth very specific goals. Number one, improve the quality of medical care to the city's residents and businesses. Number two, reduce response times by 20%. Number three, ensure that services are provided in a fiscally sustainable manner. And four, ensure local control of these services. I can now confidently stand before you today to say that overall the implementation, transition, and ultimately the performance of our new fire department has exceeded the city's goals in these areas. That doesn't mean that we don't still have work to do, quite the contrary. In Placentia, our philosophy, my philosophy, is continuous improvement for this organization. This includes investing more in training, as well as more training for our reserve program and looking at other areas for establishment and growth. But those opportunities aside, let's take a moment to celebrate some of the accomplishments of this community-wide project during the last year. These highlights including servicing nearly 700 more calls than compared to our prior service provider the prior year. That's 700 times we dispatched and handled on top of all of our other regular calls through PD, in that process. So you heard me mention paramedics, you heard me mention fire. We handled 700 more calls than the prior year, inclusive of fire of the prior year. That's a huge amount of calls. A lot of them were associated with COVID. In addition, we reduced response times. This is one of my favorite ones. We reduced response times on our medical calls by 42%, or 4 minutes, and reduced response times by 32%, or over 3 minutes on fire-related calls. Previously, our goal was 20% reduction on response times. And if you know anything about public safety and the business of public safety, if you reduce response times by 30 seconds consecutively, I often talk with our chiefs about this, and if you reduce it by 30 seconds year over year, that's like a huge accomplishment. When you can say that you have reduced response times by 4 minutes and 3 minutes respectively, well, quite frankly, the words amazing and game-changing come to mind. And that was the delivery of our fire department, and that was what we had set forth to do, but we actually exceeded our goals. But just wait, I believe it actually gets better when it comes to the statistics and the data from our first year. In addition to response times, we have reduced the need from neighboring cities by 84%. Folks, let me put that into perspective for you. When we designed the fire department, we designed it to be community-focused first. We designed it to have layer after layer of redundancy because we didn't know if other cities would assist us. Obviously, I could spend all day talking to you about the politics of this, but the reality is we focused on our community and focused on what we thought we could deliver and what was best for our community. And to put that into perspective, when we did this, we can say and say confidently that means that's 700 times we didn't have to call Brea, Yorba Linda, Fullerton, Anaheim, OCFA, you name it, 700 times less, which ultimately translates into those response times that I just mentioned a second ago, which ultimately translates into more consistently low response times for our community. 700 times that it was more consistently lower. That is huge in our business when our responsibility is to deliver public safety. And we were very proud of that statistic. Collectively, these accomplishments have resulted in a community-first focused fire department and 911 EMS service, while at the same time creating significant fiscal benefits to be applied elsewhere within our community. Over the next 15 years, the City of Placentia is projected to save nearly $50 million in taxpayer dollars by establishing our own locally controlled fire department and EMS services. Based upon the data received from the first year of implementation, the city has accomplished many of our goals and looks forward to the continuance of providing high-quality, life-saving services while being fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars. I'd like to say that this project and what it has done for our community is spectacular and something that we should all be proud of and celebrate together. Finally, I would be remiss if I did not take a moment to thank all of the people who were involved in this project. As I mentioned from the beginning, this was one of the largest projects the city's ever taken on. I would like to thank the City Council, and I'm actually going to ask these team members if you can hold your applause until the very end to actually stand up. I'd like the City Council to thank the City Council. If you can stand, Council. Our Deputy City Administrators, Luis Estevez and Rosanna Ramirez. If you can stand, please. In addition, our Public Safety Communications Manager, Stephanie Acosta-Reyes. I don't know if Stephanie is here, but she's done a yeoman's job, and her supervisory team. Chief Van Giesen and his command staff, as well as Walt Lynch and his entire team. The entire HR team, Sergeant Radomski from the Placentia Police Department, Interim Chief Ferguson, Consultant Ken Riddle, and there are many, many others that we can't thank enough that contributed to this project. If you all please take a moment and just recognize these folks. It took a small army, but we made it happen for our community with perseverance, as some would say, pressing on. Another significant milestone for the City of Placentia this year was receiving our first ever Tree City USA designation in the city's history. For anyone who might not know, the Arbor Day Foundation designates cities as Tree City USA if they meet 4 requirements illustrating an investment into the city's urban forest. We were honored to be recognized by the Arbor Day Foundation for this notable achievement and plan to continue making planting trees a priority in Placentia. Trees are assets to a community. When properly planted and maintained, they also help improve visual appeal, property values, home cooling costs, and also remove air pollutants, and among many other benefits. Recognizing the value and benefits provided to the community by the Placentia's urban forest, the council actually adopted its first urban forest management program in 2019 and subsequently adopted a tree protection ordinance citywide. Collectively, these will ensure that the city's trees will be prudently protected and managed for generations to come. We are also elated to host our first ever Arbor Day event to celebrate the city's Tree USA designation, and we look forward to making this an annual tradition with our community members and partners. And a little true story, I won't go into it today because we don't have time, is you've all heard of Johnny Appleseed? Johnny Appleseed actually does have roots to Placentia. That's a true story. So come see me afterwards, or our deputy city administrator. So we're following that vision, right? All right. Lastly, I know the mayor touched on Veterans Village, but I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge another part of the one-year anniversary celebration. We renamed the community room as the Craig S. Green Community Room in Mayor Green's honor. Upon visiting the El Monte Veterans Village, Mayor Green was inspired to work with the city council and city staff to bring this Veterans Village to Orange County. Mayor Green continues to champion and raise donations from various organizations, as does our entire council, to help support the residents of the Placentia Veterans Village, and this community room was dedicated in his honor for his unwavering contributions and dedication toward this development. Finally, in closing, I want to acknowledge that all of what you saw today couldn't have happened for but one important value that Team Placentia embodies. It's passion. I always tell our team that passion is something that you can't teach, you can't be trained on, you can't really learn it. You either have it or you don't. The ability of all this happening within this period of time can only come about with passion. That passion has got Placentia to where it is today. And some would say that with that passion also will allow us to continue to press on well into the future. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak and attending this State of the City, and we look forward to working with all of you to see what's next in store for Placentia. Thank you. I'll now turn it back over to Mr. Matt Wolf.
All right. Thank you. That was amazing. A lot in store for Placentia 2021 and 22 going forward. In conclusion, someone took my, here we go. Too many notes up here. The Chamber would like to thank all our members and invite new businesses to join our tight-knit group to advance the economic vitality of our community. On behalf of the Placentia Chamber, thank you for attending, and we look forward to seeing you all in the future. One last thing I want to mention is it is Restaurant Week next week. There are flyers at the front. So I believe Michelle told me 34 last time. I think we're participating. Where's Michelle? How many? 34. So those are 34 restaurants in the area, mostly Placentia. So if you're not familiar with Restaurant Week, get a pre-done menu, pay for the food, and support your local businesses. And with that, thank you very much.